So tonight is our fourth and last presentation here on the Brighter Future seminar series. And we are going to talk about probate and the horror stories that are involved in it. We're going to talk about how do you go through probate, who's in charge, if you have a will or if you don't have a will, and then who gets stuff if you don't have a will? Who are the beneficiaries? So probate is the court-supervised process of taking what we own while we're alive and transitioning it to the people that get it after we pass. Now, not everything has to go through probate. As my friend in the front was telling me earlier, there are some people that he knows that their mother passed away.
I might have known.
Might have known, okay. Some people he made up in his head. Some people that probably did not go through probate, and he wondered if they should have. So we'll talk about what things need to go through probate and what don't. Why is it necessary? And the reason is that if we didn't have the court overseen process, it would be a free-for-all. And there's enough fighting and family dynamics that go on with probate, but if there wasn't any process, how do you guys think it would work? Think it'd be smooth? Probably not. So it's the court's job to say, this person, if they had a will, these were their last wishes, and this is how things will be distributed, or if they didn't have a will, every state, including the state of Georgia, has laws about who inherits your stuff. There is a petition. It actually goes in front of the court. The court has to look at that. And some of the delay is that it sits on the court's desk, the court being the judge. It sits on their desk until they can get to it because they've got a lot of things to do. And they make sure that everything's filled out correctly, everybody's notified that needs to be notified, and then they'll sign it. Well, after they sign it, then you have to go through what's called this creditor period. And so it's kind of an archaic process, but it's one that we still use in that somebody has to put an ad in the classified section of the newspaper to say Cindy Nelson has passed and an estate has been opened in Cobb County. Now, why do they do that? Because anybody that I owed money to before I died, somehow they have something that goes through all the classified sections of all the newspapers, I guess, and they find out I've died. So if it's a credit card that I owed money to, they come and make a claim against the estate. Or if it's a hospital bill that I haven't paid, or if it's a mortgage or something like that I owe money, they're going to come and get their money before the family gets their money. Now, this creditors period goes for 120 days. So how many months is that? 4 months, right? 30 days a month, okay? I'm checking your math here tonight.
You're right, 4 months.
4 months. So you can't do anything for at least 4 months. It usually takes 1 to 2 months to get through filling out the petition, sending it out to all the family members, having them send it back, filing it in court, and the judge signing off on it. And then you have another 4 months to go through this creditor-debtors period. You can't get to any of the assets during this time. That causes people a lot of problems. Once we go through this, then there is a specific order that people get paid out of the estate. Who do you think's the first one? The attorneys, the IRS, last hospital bills, anything that then, was something that was like your mortgage or anything that you owed money on or anyone claimed that you owed money on has to be paid. Everybody gets paid except for the beneficiaries. They're the last ones. And if there's not enough money for the beneficiaries, what do you think happens? Too bad. Right? So everybody else is going to get their money before the beneficiaries do. This whole thing in the state of Georgia usually takes a good 9 to 12 months in the best case scenario. I am going through probate for my brother's estate in Illinois. We're over 6 years now. Yes. So, what a lot of people believe about probate is if you have a will, then you don't have to go through probate. That's not true. The only difference between having a will and not having a will is if you have a will, you get to decide who's going to be the executor or the person in charge of going through probate or distributing your estate, and you get to decide who the beneficiaries are. If you don't have a will, you go through probate court. If you do have a will, you go through probate court. Other things that people believe is, well, if I'm married, everything goes to my spouse. Well, it doesn't. If you don't have a will, it doesn't automatically go to your spouse.